HeyDM. HeyDM!
Okay.
That's what I had planned.
That's the entire
We're
thing?
all looking like
That's
not
all
at
it is.
you too. We're
Bye.
Like...
Why were you all staring at me? I wasn't even there.
Oh god, my. I clicked something.
Well, that's generally what you do.
Sorry about this, guys. Give me 2
Grease.
seconds here. Technical difficulty on my part. There. Okay.
Well, this whole thing is technically difficult.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
My nose is running. Then you
Okay.
better
You should
go
catch
I'm good. Okay.
Oh!
Guys, welcome back to all the same
Sorry
old
about
bad
that.
jokes.
Welcome back to HeyDM, guys. It's been a bit.
Can I just say, Honk is our only loyal follower right now, who is also watching. I love you, Chelsea. Oh, I probably have a couple loyal followers.
We just told no one we were going up until, like,
I
first
did.
thing this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Alec might watch. I told him we were streaming today.
Okay.
I should
Okay.
probably scoot
Are we
in.
streaming next week?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome back to HeyDM, guys.
Wee.
It's me, your DM Reese. We have all of our players here today.
Woo!
Right Yeah. here.
Not
Well,
at the table, but playing today, which
Woohoo!
doesn't sound like it should be exciting, but it is because we've been missing a couple of them for the past while.
Woohoo!
True. Shout out to Danny.
Shout out to Danny.
Shout out to Bella.
On my right, I've got Dylan, our wonderful Shin. I've also got Jason, who plays Baz.
Fuck yeah. Why did you throw me into the fray when I was trying to drink?
Because I wanted you to choke.
Oh, I love you! Okay. This is fine.
On my left side, we have Danny, who plays Charlotte, who's been mysteriously gone for a bit.
Hello. Oh, wait. Hello.
You smell like soap.
I hope.
And currently
I'm
joining
getting
us
character.
over Skype, we have Jasper playing Tavik and Bella playing Kiza.
You actually smell like really strongly of soap. I don't
Stop
know why.
discussing
I
sex.
don't know why I smell like soap.
I'm trying to introduce us, guys.
It's a good thing. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm getting in character. I'm sorry. No,
Sorry.
in character would probably not be soap.
Yeah, not be soap. He'd have like one section where the soap is
He
that
collects
smells a
expensive
lot like
soaps,
soap.
though.
He does, but that doesn't mean he ever uses them.
Does he ever use it? Yes.
Have you taken a bath?
Have you taken a bath?
You've all taken baths.
Yay, us.
Woo!
Do we get a gold star? Do we get inspiration? Oh,
You
wait.
already
I've
have
already got
inspiration.
inspiration. I don't.
I do.
That sucks.
Okay. I'm sorry for this, guys. In a bit. We've got a couple of announcements, right?
Yeah, we do.
Do you want to taking us off, Danny?
Do
I
I?
Did you
say? You said deity, I think. I am a deity.
Oh my god.
Clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Okay.
I missed having Danny do these. You know, you were horrible at it.
Thank you.
I watched you
Wait, have you
go
ever-
through it one time, and then Dylan had to say it all over again because you said it too fast. You guys, how do you not know how to read this?
I can't read.
No, you read it very fast.
It's written
You
on his
did-
character sheet. I cannot read.
Oh.
Is it?
No.
He's very well versed.
It should be.
He can't read Elvish.
That's true.
Okay, so
Sorry.
next week is the last week for our main campaign. This campaign until September. Is it the week? No, the first weekend of September we'll be back, or is
No.
it the second?
I think it's the
Because
second.
He comes back.
Second, I think.
Okay.
He comes back.
Because
on the
he
ninth.
comes back after my birthday.
Okay.
So,
Which is that weekend. He comes back on the Sunday.
yeah, he
Hi,
comes back on
Your
his
wonderful
birthday.
DM Reese will be
That's
gone over the summer, but there will be a summer campaign run by the wonderful Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't be too worried. You'll get your daily fix, just not of me.
yeah. So summer break soon.
You're talking
So
about us like we're a drug.
are you? So summer break. Reese is gonna be traveling. we're probably a couple of us are gonna be traveling as well a little, but
I have
I'll
no
be-
life.
Yeah. Well, I've got another wedding to go to, so so I'll be.
How do people get married?
They have a wedding.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
be
take
DMing.
longer to get through this than it does to play.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be DMing a hopefully quick campaign. That should only
put a lot of
last.
time into my character.
It should only last the summer. It's mostly just like a one shot, unless of course something else comes up and Reese travels more.
No,
so.
no. Unless something comes
Unless-
up like we be idiots.
Well, that's yeah,
It's gonna come.
yeah. So
We're supposed to spend one day in this town, so that means we should spend a week.
I've planned it for the summer. If it's longer, you don't get to hear it until we need a filler episode. So,
So
anyways,
prepare for cliffhangers.
yeah, so you can listen to my horror DMing with their cool characters. It'll probably be uploaded between Friday nights to Sunday mornings just because I work a lot of the Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm hoping it'll all be within the same range as mostly putting up on Saturday, but there won't be as many live shows, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So, that's it for that. You can check out ETNL for other gamers on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and now Instagram. I believe it's ETNL official for their Instagram. I'm not going to list the rest of them. It's probably all the same. And you can check us out on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, and you can email us. And if you like what we do even a little, you can support us however you want, but we do love it when people donate to our PayPal. Isn't it great?
I don't know why we all looked at Reese.
I know,
Because he's
we
the
did.
only one who
The
spent the
PayPal.
money.
And I got something great with it. Enjoy this little knife thing I got.
I thought you were like trying to pull it out, and I'm like, no, oh. It pulls out.
Moving on.
Moving on, Reese. Don't you want to talk about all of the
I didn't
problems
know
with
Daddy
pulling
likes
out?
when people pull out.
Please stop. Please stop. Let us finish so we can move on.
I'm here for. How long am I here for? Can I leave yet?
No.
I'm sorry, I love you.
I hope so. Alright, back to you, Reese.
Was
Oh
that it?
shit.
Yeah, that was the weather.
Go back to Reese for the weather. Weather?
No,
I mean,
no.
Reese, who are you?
This was the weather.
This was the weather. Going back to the desk with Reese.
Okay.
So, pulling out.
So we left off.
Fun.
We left off half a day's journey to Ocean Hall. That was a weird look. With half a day's journey to Ocean Hall. You guys had just left Meadow Hall. Baz, you had done so after drinking a potion and falling asleep to encounter a strange semi-waking. So, let's jump right on back through, isn't it? Isn't it, Will? It's about time, yeah?
Woo.
Thanks, Daddy.
I'm so excited. I haven't been here for like 2 months.
Ow! You made me bit my tongue.
Stop! I just want to play D&D.
He slapped me.
I always slap you.
Alright.
Pat. Why do I have alerts?
There we go. Okay. Baz, you are in the same bed you had left off in this this quaint little tavern room. It's a few days from when you had woken up initially. Most of the time you had spent in the room kind of recuperating. You'd found out from Farinessa that you had gotten quite beaten up in a bar brawl, defending her honor after a man had dared to try and force himself upon her. Currently, the two of you are laid out in bed, just kind of hanging. It's been a quiet day. She's kind of reading to you, like reading the small book that you had woken up with. She's rereading it to you for the 4th time, and you still can't quite like grasp the details of the book, but you do enjoy it. It's soft, and it feels almost like a memory, but you can't remember it happening, right? As you go through these days, you are beginning to process that this has happened before, but you can't remember anything that will come next. And you go through these days and days and days and days of this peaceful life. And it is that same afternoon. Farinessa has closed the book and left the room to go and grab you guys supper. And you've decided that you need to move around a bit. It's a bit squished in this room, and you need something else to do. You pull yourself from the bed and you head over to one of the only windows in the room. And the outside world is strange, because it looks roughly similar to a place you feel you've been before, but everything's just a little bit off, like a cardboard cutout. Right? You can see the Greymore Mountains stretching out far in the distance, and you can see the beginnings of the Forest of Mir, and you can see the flat hills that start to gradually shift out from where you are, but everything is a bit two-dimensional. And somehow this doesn't worry you. Somehow this seems normal. And then you begin to feel what's like a small tug, like someone's pulling on the back of your tunic. Just a light one. And at first you brush it off, and then the tug starts to get heavier, as if someone is forcibly trying to remove you from whatever this place is. And all of a sudden, there's one final sharp yank, and you feel yourself falling. And you close your eyes because the wind is howling, and it's a terrible feeling traveling wherever this is. And when you open them again, you're looking up at the sky. And it's more realistic than that view out the window had been. It's more lifelike. And there's a dark blanket of skies. Dark blanket of stars.
Many skies.
Many skies.
It feels more real. And you realize now that you're here wherever this is, that while you had been with Farinessa, it was realistic, but there was always an itch, kind of, that something was off, something wasn't the way it was supposed to be. This feels real. This feels concrete. You're on your back, in the middle of what feels like a field, and you can see that there's kind of a rustling to the grass, but you can't feel the wind. You're in one of the only actual spots that's kind of open, because around you, arrayed in a variety of shapes and colors, are these beautiful, beautiful flowers, none of which you can actually recognize. And beyond that, there is a wall of these large, beautiful trees that seem to weave in and out together. And you begin to sit up, and you can feel everything. You can feel the grass beneath your fingertips. You can feel now the wind, and you can smell just the smell of clean air, of just rain, essentially. And that's when you begin to notice that you're not alone. because on the far side of this meadow is a small pond. And sat next to this pond is a child. Dark alabaster skin and bright white hair. They're not looking at you. In fact, they're staring out at the pond. But they pat the log next to where they're sitting. And somehow you feel like this is where you need to be. So you begin to make your way over, and you take a seat next to this child. It's a boy. Wait, sorry. Let me just, here we go.
Good boy, wait.
Congratulations.
It's a boy, wait.
We've received intel.
Sorry.
It's a drow child. And I realize now that I said alabaster.
Yeah.
I did not mean alabaster. The hair is alabaster. The skin is very much like charcoal.
What do you mean by alabaster?
It means white.
Alabaster is
It's
white.
a white color.
Okay.
I was
I
very
forgot.
confused.
Okay.
Like a dark white.
That's a
No.
gray.
It's charcoal colored skin and alabaster white hair pulled back into a short braid. It turns to you with these large, just kind of wide, innocent, pale lilac eyes, and it just kind of looks at you for a minute. And then it gives you a soft smile, and it turns back to the pond, and you sit there in silence. You're up, buddy.
Who's the fuck? Who's?
I don't think that's Baz's voice.
No, it's not. I'm just like confused.
It's Jason's confusion.
Do you need some elevator music for this? No, that's what Jeopardy.
Yeah. What do you?
Hey, fucking copyright.
Yeah, don't get us copyright straight. It's chat.
Hello.
It nods. Kind of like a little, acknowledgement.
What's your name?
Torlin.
Fuck, I don't know if I can spell shit.
Torr.
Does anyone have paper?
I'm writing it down, don't worry.
Torrellan.
What?
He lost me, so I only wrote Tur.
Torr.
It's fine, it's fine.
ELLAN.
It's fine.
Two R's, two L's. TOEAN. Somewhere.
You begin to notice more about this glade. There's the sound of crickets lightly in the distance. The sky isn't fully dark. In fact, the sun is just beginning to set, and you watch together in silence as it sets and dims, and the moon comes soaring across the sky. The pond in front of you ripples every once in a while with the light breeze that's blowing past, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty peaceful.
What are you doing here?
Watching
Watching what?
the pond.
What's in the pond?
That's why I'm watching.
I love this so much. Did you come here by yourself?
You're here.
Did you come with me?
Shrugs.
How long have you been here?
How long have you been here?
I don't know. Where are you from?
Places.
Interesting conversation we're having.
That gets a small giggle.
At least I made you laugh. How old are you?
What about you?
143.
Let me write that down. There we go.
Years or lifetimes?
Years. What do you mean lifetimes?
I don't know. Seems like the right word.
Sorry.
You're very quiet.
Seems like the right word.
Are you from here?
That depends. Do you mean here as in the glade? As in the dream? As in the world? As in the time? As in the place? The person?
All of the above.
Yes and no.
Is there a reason why I'm here?
I think so. I think I had something to tell you. I don't know if I can remember, though.
Is there something I can help you remember?
No. I don't think that's how this works.
Oh. Do you know my name?
Which name?
I think I only have one name. Tell me all the names you know me as.
Well, I know you by the name you know you. And I know you by the name that you are truly.
What am I truly?
And I know you by the name you could be and the name you have been. The name you should be and the name you would be. I know you by many names. And I know you by many people and many lifetimes and many things. You ask these questions as if they're easy, but do you ever stop to think what the answer would be? And if you want to hear it?
I'd like to hear all the answers, so I have a clear story.
I suppose everyone wants to know the answers, don't they? I remember what I came to tell you. Something is wrong. Something is stirring. And I can't remember what happened, but something happened, and you need to be prepared. I don't think the next time we'll meet I'll remember. I'm not sure I remember everything now, but I have one hint, one piece of advice for you. When you meet him, do not give him your trust at first. He'll say many things, anything, to get what he's been working for. And I can't tell you if they're all true, but I can tell you that some of them are dangerous.
Who is he?
I don't know that one.
No?
Not the way I know you. He's different, older. I know a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things in a relatively short time, but I don't know everything. And I just learned that. So.
Well, you're adorable.
That's another giggle.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just,
I am anti.
I am, aren't I?
And then you begin to notice a couple of things. For one, the crickets have stopped. And the breeze has stopped, and the pond's not rippling, and the grass isn't moving, and everything seems to be stopping, and it's starting to feel a little bit less real and more like a dream. And the child turns to you,
I just don't want you to be surprised.
and it says,
Come by here and see him. Did you see your shoes there, by the way?
I think I have to go now,
Okay.
but
Okay, thank you very much.
I think I'll see you again. Soon. Maybe not soon. And then it stands up, and it begins to make its way out of the glade. And as it goes, it begins to get darker. And you cast an eye up, and you see that one by one, these lights are starting to blink in and out. And then all at once they begin to fall from the sky. Arcs of silvery gray light just raining from the sky until it's empty and dark. And the trees begin to move, but not the way they would in a breeze, more the way in this, if something was moving them. And you begin to see eyes. And they glow and they pop up around. There's one set, and 2 sets, and 3 sets, and 100 sets, and they're all around the glade now. And you feel yourself stumble back into that little area that you'd first woken up in the middle of the glade. And you blink because this is terrifying. This is not something you want to see again. And when you open your eyes, you're looking up at the sky again. But this time it's blue, and the sun is there, and you can hear the slight turn of wheels and the rumbling of the cart as it moves along. And you can hear Kiza and Shin trading jests in the front, and Tabik is polishing off a piece of armor next to you. And you're awake. Finally, you're awake, and you don't know how long you've been asleep. You're not sure if you were sleeping, because you feel just as tired as you had when you'd gone to bed, but you know time has passed, and you know things have happened, but you're not sure what they mean. And you're awake. You're in the cart, and everybody else is there. Except Charlotte, of course, because Charlotte's not there. Obviously. Clearly.
Tabik,
Yeah.
how long was I asleep for?
Please. How long was he asleep?
Tabik, it's been about 2.5 hours since you guys had left. Just going on 3. You estimate maybe another 3 or 4 hours till you guys reach Ocean Hall.
I'm assuming Tabik's gonna tell me that, but I'm just going to go for it. Are you gonna tell me that?
Well, were you asleep before we left? I can't remember.
I fell asleep as we started leaving.
You fell asleep as you guys passed by the kind of conglomeration of tents and such outside the Lord's Mansion, just out of Meadowhall.
It's just been a few hours.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Is it still the same day?
Yeah.
Same month?
Yeah. Okay there, Baz.
I'm good. Okay. Shin?
Yeah.
Still fuckface.
What was that for?
I'm gonna slap Baz.
Sure.
I didn't have to do it.
Kiza, you kind of like shrug the reins into one hand, and you just kind of lean back and slap him on the side of the cheek. Yeah.
Ow. Fuck. Shin?
Yes.
You're a good man. Fuck you.
Yep, I was waiting for it.
I would like
Okay.
to check my fucking coins now.
You have no reason to believe they're gone.
Okay, sure. You jingle through. You can't seem to find the platinum pieces. And that could be because you've spent them, or they might have dropped somewhere else in your packs. You kind of start looking through the rest of your pack, but you just can't find them at this point.
Guys, I think I lost my platinum. Anyone know where it could have gone?
You had platinum?
Yeah, my platinum. I had like... I erased it.
A lot of, like, 13.
I had 10.
No, actually, you had 13 before you
13.
started drinking.
You had an insane amount of platinum. But now you don't. Whee!
Do you know where it went, Havoc?
I didn't know you had any.
I've been paying for your guys' shit the entire time!
Well, I know that, but it's
What the
not
fuck?
platinum pieces.
No, I carry like 30 million gold pieces.
You know, same.
Whatever. Well, we just lost a substantial amount of money.
Substantial?
I think, yeah. I can't read.
Substantial, you know, like a substantial amount of financial wealth.
I heard some natural.
That's
Okay.
I knew what you were trying to say, but that definitely isn't what it came out.
Baz, did you have too much to drink?
Probably. Am I still like loopy?
How many drinks did you have?
Like
No.
17 whiskeys, do
We
you know?
had like
You've-
13
You've got a
frickin'
slight
whiskey.
headache.
Anyone got
overall,
some
you feel
fantasy
okay.
Advil? Anyone? Cleric. Do we have a cleric?
We have a
It's tapping!
Oh!
You were literally talking to the cleric.
Ain't that a shame?
Oh, man. I didn't think we were that bad.
Yeah. Jason, are you
Just
okay?
Jason. Jason is rusty.
Yeah,
Advil,
give
do
me
you
some
have
oil.
fantasy Advil? I have a little bit of a headache.
I'm just gonna smack him again.
Ow.
Okay.
Fuck, my headache is getting worse.
Yeah, there's like a slight imprint on your head from this at this point. It's just kind of a little bit red.
Oh, am I on fire?
Do you want to be?
I'm not into that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to sleep because my head hurts. Hey, Shin. If you see my fucking platinum, please tell me.
Yeah, sure.
That sounded like a man I know of Dylan. That was totally
Yeah,
my
yeah.
character voice.
That was not my character voice.
I'm going to bed. Good night.
Okay. You fall back asleep, and it's dreamless this time, and you actually get some rest. I'm just kidding, because of course.
I was just about to say, like, well, isn't Baz gonna, like, explain this? But apparently not. He's going back in.
Gotta re-enter the matrix.
I was just gonna say.
I
it's
know,
in the
I was gonna
we're
say
in
the
the
Matrix.
all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys continue on for another hour or so. There's about 2.5 hours left until you reach Ocean Hall at this point. You've kind of picked up the pace a little bit. I'd like perception rolls from everybody. Except for Charlotte, of course.
Let's go roll perception.
You're asleep,
Yeah.
so you don't get to make one.
Yeah, you said make one for everyone else but
Oh.
Charlotte. I was like, what?
You have
21.
passive perception.
21.
21?
21.
Danny, I don't know how to take them off.
My passive perception is very low, but it's a 13.
Just take them off. They're grapes, buddy.
I thought we were rolling perception.
We are rolling.
Okay.
All right.
17.
It's not difficult to notice, because as you guys go, you begin to notice what looks like not quite smoke but dust in the distance, a little bit off. What?
Someone's vaping.
No.
You don't vape dust. That would hurt.
No, do you?
No.
And you watch as
Oh, I don't know what just happened.
Jason's just dying via grape.
you watch as a quite well dressed steed begins to round the corner of a hill in front of you guys, behind which the plume of dust is beginning to rise up from, and it's wild-eyed and it's dragging behind part of what looks like a hitch that would attach two horses generally, and it's just kind of dragging behind it as it begins to kick up dust and just tear its way down towards you guys, and you get a split second before it's just booked it past you, and the horses like slow down a little bit and they kind of trot nervously, but they continue to go on. As you guys round the corner, you begin to see what has happened, because in front of you, just a little bit off the path, currently knocked on its side, is a large cart. And there seems to be a couple of drag marks and what looks like a large stick kind of like lent up, like the bottom of a tree branch or a tree trunk.
Stick.
The bottom of a large tree trunk is kind of lent up against it, as if it'd been used, just kind of thrown through the actual cart. The back door of the cart is kind of thrown open, almost broken off its hinges, and you can see what looks like a couple of crates of some sort of items just kind of thrown around and tossed out the back. There's a slight bit of dust still in the air from the horse, but it's beginning to fade down now. You can't see where the secondary horse that you assume would have been attached to the hitch is, and you don't know where anybody who would have been driving this cart is, but it is currently just a wreck on the side.
I snore louder.
Nice.
Thanks.
Can you demonstrate?
No. No, I don't have my towels.
No, I
can't
got
do
it.
anymore.
Oh. He's like cartoon snoring.
Yeah.
Does he have like
The
the
anime
snot?
I'm glad you both came to that conclusion.
Hey, I assume that Baz doesn't blow his nose before bed.
Who blows their nose before bed?
You do if you
I don't
have
know
like
if your
mucus
nose
in
is
your nose.
running. I mean,
Judging you.
I don't blow my
It's
nose
supposed
like,
to, like,
oh man,
be
gotta brush my
investigating
teeth,
what's
blow my
happening.
nose.
If
Oh,
you
I
have
didn't do
mucus
that
in your
this
nose, you blow your nose because
couldn't
then
brush
you
my
can't,
teeth.
you can't breathe while you sleep if your nose is stuffy.
I can't breathe!
Same.
My lungs are dying.
Oh,
Oh my god!
Yes?
May I please go investigate the
Oh,
car?
we got
Yes,
slightly distracted.
Yes, you may. Roll me an investigation check.
Thanks, it's probably gonna be terrible, just a heads up. Okay. Oh, a 17. It's not bad.
Okay, yeah. Just put the knife back. Thank you.
Baz has kleptomania, not you.
Kiza, you kind of tie
Yeah, I do.
the reins around the pommel and hop down off the thing. You grab your axe on the way. And you begin to make your way over to where this cart is upturned. And
So I'm
as
gonna
you begin to look around and kind of investigate, you notice a couple of things. For one, there are large drag tracks of where this cart has been dragged off the side of the road and kind of tossed away from it. Two, it smells like quite putrid, like sweat and dead animal kind of. And the third thing you notice is that there is clear like crushing to this wagon, as you would assume based on first look that it had somehow gone wild and kind of careened off the road, but you can now see that kind of just based on the way that the wood is kind of messed up and warped, this looks as if something had picked it up and tossed it.
Great. I'm not gonna tell anyone. I'm going to. So you said there were like crates in the cart?
Yep, there's a couple of crates in the cart. It's being tipped over onto its side, so they're kind of just tossed around inside. And there's one or two that have been tumbled out over the time.
Can I open one of the ones that's been like tumbled out?
Yep. You managed to get the hilt of your axe and you kind of use it as a lever to just pop the top off. Inside looks like a collection of what looks like dried meat, salted and stored and packed. You also begin to notice that originally you assumed that these crates had been kind of tossed out, but you begin to notice there's kind of a couple of drag marks, and though the cart looks like it could hold quite a few boxes, there only seems to be a couple left over.
Great. This is fantastic. Shin?
Yes.
Could you come over here for a minute?
Okay. I guess I get off the cart and walk over to her.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Let's make beautiful lovers.
We were laughing about
We were
the name
laughing.
over
Oh,
here.
okay.
Well, not laughing. It's a great name.
Thank you for following. Welcome to the
Just a
welcome to
reminder
the club,
that orcs
guys.
need love too. Not all orcs are friendly, but all orcs could use a friend.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Oh, that's adorable.
Shin, you begin to make your way over, and you start to notice a couple of these things. It's very difficult to miss the smell. It's pretty putrid. And you begin to notice kind of the drag marks of where this cart is being just kind of dragged and tossed. You begin to notice the crushing of the actual wagon and the pride meat that has Kiz's opened up now.
Yeah. What did you call me over here for? Also, that's not Shin's character voice.
Jason, like, oh wait, no.
What?
I meant to say Dylan, and I said Jason.
Why is everyone messing up my names? I'm Reese, and then I'm Dylan, and then I'm...
No, Dylan is Jason. I meant to say Dylan.
I am now you.
Oh, God! I want to go home!
Okay, back to it.
Hopefully.
Sorry, I'll figure out my character voice at some point.
Okay. It's been a while.
Yeah,
So,
so
Shin? Hear me out. I'm thinking that something a lot bigger than us might have chucked this cart, stolen what's inside, and gone the fuck away. Which means that there's something bigger than us somewhere out here.
If, as you believe, that something had stolen from this cart, what makes you think that they won't be back?
Psych. He's here.
psych. Roll initiative.
She's like, whoa, that's me, it's Alvin.
It turns out Talby needed it for cooking.
You just needed a friend.
My dog was hungry.
It's Fia.
Oh
You
no!
didn't call Fia a dog?
Oh, poor Fia.
And we'll kick your butt.
Okay.
Halflings are dogs.
Anyhoozle. Leave me alone. I've been hanging out with too many people. That's the thing. I think it will be back. And sucks to suck for whoever's cart this was, but I don't want to be their next toy to throw or to destroy or to possibly eat.
Same.
So
I snore louder. Making the story interesting now, boys.
Whoa.
Make me a snore check. Constitution check. Let's go.
Wait.
Come on, let's see. Are you
If
actually
you're rolling
snoring
that
louder?
one, you actually
What is it,
die.
performance?
It's Constitution.
Baz lets out a snore that begins to rattle the cart.
Yeah.
Okay, at that
And then he
point, I'm
closes
gonna
his
see
mouth.
what the others are doing.
And the cart continues to rattle.
Oh no.
Because it's not Baz snoring that's rattling the cart.
Oh god!
There's a slight shake every once in a while. Very measured in pattern. And it begins to get a little bit harder and a little bit harder.
roll initiative because I snore.
Yeah, you did.
And the scent begins to thicken, and dear God, whatever this thing is, it needs a wash. It needs a bath, a good one.
It's a big bath.
Baz, you have soap.
I'm leaving.
Okay, I'm just gonna, okay, what the kid would do. Hey, Reese, can I look around and see if I notice anything going on?
Yeah, sure. Make me a perception check.
23.
Okay.
I don't know what just happened.
I love orcs make beautiful lovers.
You notice a couple more things. First off, you notice that you guys have entered into a small dip in the middle of these hills, and it's actually quite closed off. It's not exactly visible to any other parts of the road, because the rest of the road snakes around the hill that you guys had come from and goes over the top of one of the other ones. So there's no actual direct line outside of this little dip kind of basin. The next thing you notice is that there is what looks to be a fabric that is this kind of like torn fabric that is lying a little bit away from where Kiza and Shin are lying in the grass, a little bit away from where Shin and Kiza are standing. And you begin to notice that the shaking is getting a lot heavier, but you still can't quite... You start to hear what sounds like this loud kind of thump, thump, thump on the ground, but you can't see anything right now.
I'm assuming we all kind of are, like, notice the loud thumping and stuff.
Yeah, the loud sounds and everything you guys can notice, but you guys can't see what this is. Yeah, Bess.
Read the chat. I don't know if they mean the pounding there back there, or if they mean like the giant.
Oh,
No, that's just ambiance.
sorry. I will go check that out in 2 seconds here. I'm not sure what that
God
is.
fucking damn it, there's
Tell
a
us.
giant demon baby after us. This always fucking happens.
You guys probably like get in the car.
It's my son. I have you know.
You're asleep.
Baz, you begin like, this is quite heavy and stuff. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to sleep through this. So you begin to kind of start.
Pass awake and then call everybody over. And
What the fuck?
go.
I was sleeping. Stop rocking the cart.
Here, Baz, something's coming towards us.
That sucks. I was sleeping.
Well, good luck sleeping through dying.
I've done it before. It's actually very nice. That's a joke. It's humor.
Tabik, you're kind of paying a little bit more attention to this than the others are. Like, they can obviously hear it and feel the vibrations and everything, but you're kind of focusing in on them. You begin to notice that there is a bit of a pattern to it, but it's intermittent, right? So, like, there'll be 2 loud thumps and then a secondary 2 loud thumps, but each of the 2 pairs seem to match up with each other, but they're not matching up together.
There are 2 of them.
Maybe he's
Guys,
just dancing.
there's 2 things coming towards us. How about we go before it gets here?
Shin, get in the fucking cart.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I'm glad my stern voice worked for once. It never seems to. Anyway.
Get in the cart!
Okay. I get in the cart.
Everyone's in the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except me.
Go!
I need... Who's driving? Kissa?
I think so.
Okay, I need you to make an animal handling check for me because the
God.
horses are not doing too well with this. They're kind of prancing in their spot. They're kind of looking around a little bit nervous.
Can I help?
Babies, I
You
love
can aid.
you so dearly. Please be nice to me. 20. Not nat, but 20.
Okay. Okay. You kind of manage to coax them into a slow trot. They're still a bit nervous, but they're a little bit happier to be able to get out of this area. And they begin to make their way forward on your path. And you guys get about halfway across this dip, before you start to see what this loud shaking sound is. Rounding one of the hills off to the right side, just behind where the cart had been thrown, comes these 2 hideous creatures. They're about 16 feet tall, large bodied, heavily weighted, these dark tan skin, and there's no hair, but they've got kind of these squashed faces and these humanoid bodies, except for the fact that they are quite a bit larger than you.
Who's sitting beside me right now?
Tabik is in the back with you.
Tabik. Those look like my godparent. No, what are they called? Fuck. In-laws.
The one in front has currently got what looks like the base of a tree kind of slung over its shoulder, and what looks like the back half of a horse in its left hand.
Kinky.
It's torn apart and kind of dripping blood on the grass as it goes walking around and stuff. And the secondary one is kind of glancing back and forth, kind of squinting. And it's got what looks like a kind of like a cloth almost. It's kind of this grayish colored long rectangle. It's just kind of holding, and it kind of dabs a bit of its forehead with it, and before it tosses it down. The one in front says, "Are you sure you left it at the caravan?" And the one in the back goes, "I'm sure. I put it down when we crushed it." And the 2 giants, because these are giants, begin to make their way across to the caravan.
Oh,
And
we
it-
should have fucking run.
This point, I'd like to pause for a short break so we can put up a battle map.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
We'll be right back with some fun giant combat.
I mean, can we?
Can we what?
Sneak past them?
I guess we're gonna find
We'll
out.
have to see.
We'll be back soon.
Yes. We'll be back.
We will be back soon.
We'll be back.
I'll be back.
Stop.
Pause!
Why are you scaring my
Why you
soul?
just